Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the creaking and how we can possibly farm the resin. Now I have a farm idea, but first before we jump to that, let's quickly cover how you can produce resin. Now at the time of recording this, these features are only on Bedrock Edition. They will be coming to Java, and one thing that I want to do is I want to build this on Bedrock to then see once they do come to Java if it works the same way on Java. Let's quickly just explain how you get yourself some resin. So first of all, you need to have a creaking. Now obviously you would find a creaking hut within a Pale Gardens. You can also craft yourself one or move it. And if we now was to set the time to night, we would get ourselves a creaking spawn, which we have got right here. So how you produce yourself resin is just by punching a creaking. As you can see, when I punch this, it sends particles and resin has been formed. This resin can then be broken, and it also works like glow lichen and skulk veins, where you can place it on any block and it works like an overlay. So now what we want to test here is ways we can produce this without the need for a player. So the first thing I want to test is some damage sources for the creaking. So if we was to just throw it on a campfire, will that damage it? Let's then also try a few other things. Now, I don't know too much about Bedrock's mechanics, but I do know we can try wither roses, we can try campfires. I guess we could try entity cram, but I don't know exactly how entity cramming works on Bedrock. I do also know you have trident killers on Bedrock Edition, so you can maybe use one of them. So I've got some items and blocks that can damage a mob when they stand inside of it. But there are also some more like magmas, but that's just classed under fire damage, so I don't think it's worth getting the magmas. So let's now quickly just block this creaking inside of a gap so it can't escape. And now let's try. So if I place a wither rose at its feet, let's quickly just try and do that. A wither rose at its feet doesn't hurt it. Okay, it does give it the withering effect, as you can see, but it doesn't damage the creaking, so it doesn't produce any of the resin. Let's also break all the resin so we know when it produces some. So the wither rose doesn't work. Let's now quickly try a campfire. I will try both of them. It's the same damage type, but you never know with Bedrock Edition. So let's place them both down. The Soulfire one doesn't affect the creaking, and I'm guessing it's the same for the normal campfire. So there we go, we've now trapped it again. That definitely didn't take me way longer than I would have liked. So we tried both campfires and neither of them worked. Let's now try powdered snow, I guess. Well, let's try drowning first, because drowning could work, I guess. So let's just place a water bucket on that block. Let's then cover that so it can't escape. And let's just give it some time to see if it does start drowning. I don't think lava will work, as campfires didn't, and it should be the same damage source. So the creaking's been like that for a while, and it hasn't started producing any resin, nor has it started like doing any sort of animation. So I'm guessing drowning cannot be done. Let's now just try powdered snow, as powdered snow once again freezes entities, so it should work. But once again, does it register as damage? I'm assuming probably not, as no other damage sources have worked. So let's now see. It's shaking, which means that it's freezing. But once again, it's not producing any resin. That's interesting. So the next thing I want to try is a entity, because things like iron golems will attack the creaking without the need of players. So let's quickly just get ourselves a iron golem. And I'm going to get one that I've spawned with blocks rather than a spawn egg, just because then we know 100% if this works in survival mode or not. And I'm not sure in Bedrock if the one you spawn by spawn egg has the data and all that stored to it. So let's now spawn the iron golem. And let's see. So the iron golem is attacking the creaking, but it's not producing any particles. Okay, that's interesting. So you can see the creaking obviously is being damaged, but no particles are being produced from the creaking to the heart. And also no resin is being placed around it. And if I quickly just punch it, you will see that it can form. So it's not that it's because it's blocked or anything. So now one other thing I want to try is a wolf. Because obviously wolves will defend a player or its owner. So if we was to tame ourselves a wolf, let's quickly just... What happened there? Okay, it's because it went daytime. Let's quickly just sell it back to nighttime. There we go. And the creaking has now escaped because obviously it won't always spawn in the same location. But I guess you can go inside of there. That works. And let's now block that up. So we have the creaking once again trapped. Now let's quickly just break all the resin from this, so we know when it produces some. There we go. And now let's quickly just get a wolf. Now I know you can use trident killers, and we'll test if that works in a second. But trident killers are kind of weird, and I've never understood them. They also don't work on Java, so I don't really want to use them. We're going to try a wolf. If I was to tame myself this wolf, which, there we go. So this wolf is now ours, and it's punching the creaking. Yes, this works. Okay, so we could have a wolf and a creaking. Now, the only issue with this is obviously the creaking doesn't spawn in an exact location every time. So you might have to do some spawn proofing, so there's only a certain area it can spawn in. Or you might have to do something where a wolf is just in like a minecart moving around. And that wolf is tamed. Now the question is, if I go far away, will the wolf teleport to me? I don't know. But you can see the resin is being produced. Now, we could stand here with, I don't exactly know what tool is best for the resin, so let's quickly just block ourselves in so we can't be hit by anything. So it seems like for breaking this, it's an insta-break with any tool you use, even with your fist. Okay, that's good. So you can literally just stand here breaking it as it forms. Now, the next thing we want to test is spawn proofing. So if we was to go, for example, like up into the sky. So let's say this was a normal Minecraft world. So I've now done some testing. As you can see right here, we have a platform with a creaking. Now, the creaking heart can spawn a creaking within a 33 by 17 by 33 radius of the creaking heart. So what we need to do is just make sure there are no spawnable blocks within that radius apart from where we want the creaking to spawn. So right here. Now the creaking cannot spawn on leaves apparently, so what I want to now do is just surround this platform by 3 high leaves. And the reason we are doing this is just so then the creaking cannot get off of this platform, as if we have a wolf hitting the creaking, we don't want the creaking to drop off or anything like that. And then what we want to do is, now that we have that done, we want to push the wolf in to this hole. And let's just sit him down for now, just so he don't teleport out. And we now want to build our own platform. And once again, we're going to build this platform out of leaves. And we are producing some of the resin. Now, I could place a leaf block there just to stop it from spreading up. And we now want to obtain it from the ground here. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a piston right there and a piston right there. So that's going to get any block that generates here. So these 4. And it's also going to obtain these 4. Now what we need to do is just activate these with a bit of redstone. So let's just grab some repeaters. Let's also grab some dust. And let's now just power that, breaking it instantly because we don't want it to power constantly. And you can now see that this is breaking off these 2 resources. Now the question is it generating? It is generating there, as you can see. And it's also generating there. The wolf is still hitting the creaking. So we have that part set up. I guess I could, if you wanted to, place like leaves here, just so the resin doesn't generate on these blocks. And we are also going to do that just so the resin can't fall out of the block. Now what we want to do is go down here, break that block and break that block, because we're now going to have hoppers there. So we now want to place down a barrel, and I'm going to place it there. And then we just want to throw a hopper on top of that, and then a hopper right there. And that should collect all the resources. Now let's see if this does work how we want it to. So the wolf has teleported away, which kind of sucks. Now I guess we could try a lead and a fence. So I could lead the wolf and put it onto a fence. But I think leads disconnect when you leave a world and rejoin. Let's quickly just try this. If I punch the creaking, the wolf will now be able to attack it from anywhere within this box. And we should now see that the resin is being produced. We could also double this up. So for example, we could have some more of the creaking hearts going all the way along, and more wolves in different chambers. Now there's probably better ways to do this. For example, we could probably do something like this, where we stack up the pistons to then also harvest the resin on this level as well. So let's now quickly try and do that. If I break this comparator and place down a solid block there, I think because of redstone in bedrock, I have to then also place down a redstone dust there for that to work, and I do. So that now works, and I can do the same on this side. Now it seems to be spreading down, and we don't want that because we can't harvest them blocks below. So we could fix that just by placing like a button or something just to stop the growth inside of that radius. So if I was to just place a button right there, that will now no longer be able to grow down that way. Same with if I place one right there. But now what I want to do is I want to have this going for one night cycle. So from daytime to nighttime. And I want to see how much resources we get. It's very simple. I think the most complicated part is probably the wolf. We already have a stack and 4. But I want to start this again. So let's quickly just disable the redstone. So the creaking has now spawned and I've punched the creaking so the wolf will now aggro onto it. What we now want to do is just leave this farming the resources. I'm also just going to place 2 blocks there. Just so then the resin can't like spit out onto the ground. Although, let's maybe make that glass so then we can see inside. Let's also maybe make them 2 glass as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go AFK here and see how much resin we can farm until the creaking despawns. So as soon as it reaches daytime, you can see daytime is currently ticking. So the sun is coming up. The farm will probably shut off any second. Now while testing this, I have come up with a few downsides to the farm. First of all, let's talk about the good side. The good side is the farm will automatically shut itself off because obviously at a daytime, the creaking will despawn, meaning that the farm will no longer work. Now, the downside is that when it does become nighttime, you are going to have to come in here and punch the creaking because obviously wolves will not just attack the creaking. There are ways you could probably fix that by having your AFK spot to the side, like right here, and having the creaking maybe punch you once and then having like pistons or something block it off. And then the wolf will obviously attack if it attacks you. But it works. And I know you could use like trident killers, but I don't like using them just because they don't work on Java Edition, and trident killers I think are very unreliable. Another change I did make is I just replaced these 2 blocks with glass just because I did find that 3 resin through that whole time did spit out onto the side here, which we don't really want any waste. So this was one Minecraft night. Let's see how much we got. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks and 8. That's not bad. Now, I don't know if that's good or not, just because I haven't seen what other people have built and the farms. But I quickly just want to see how many blocks is this equivalent to. So if I quickly just do something like this, that is currently at 21 blocks. And then that is 28 blocks. And then we can probably get 1 more out of this. So you get about 29 blocks in one Minecraft night. Now, as for the brick version, I think you only need 4 of these to craft yourselves up 1 brick. You do. So inside of one Minecraft night, you could either get 29 resin blocks, or you could get yourself a stack and 1 brick blocks. I think it's a cool little farm that you can build while you go AFK for 15 minutes, because a Minecraft day is normally 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it works pretty well. It's quite small and compact. There are obviously some things you need to remember, like building it away from the ground, because otherwise the creaking will just spawn below. But anyway, that is it for this video. I just wanted to mess with farming the resin, and I think that it's a very good farm as it uses some unique mechanics. It's very different from most other mob farms because you don't have to kill the creaking. You have to use its mechanics of punching it. But it's also interesting that it has to be a player attack. It cannot just be any damage, which I'm interested to see if that feature comes over to Java as well. But anyway, if you enjoyed, do like and subscribe. As soon as these features are within Java, I will make another video testing this farm inside of Java to see if it works and if we can improve it in any way. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.